Wizards. So we've had a bit of a down day today with Discord. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I literally posted this. When was this? Around 20 minutes ago. This post for all of you on Discord, and it's only just popped up now. I thought it went missing, so I quickly went into Wizard Worldwide to tell everyone there's potentially been a Discord server going down, but it seems like Discord overall has just gone down today. So I thought I'd make it up to all of you with a little bit of market analysis and a bit of a recap, as I've been unable to actually continuously keep you guys updated throughout the day. So I think first and foremost, we're going to be going over BTC, XRP and Ether. Very brief update because again, we've gone over this in depth within the Discord chat anyway, but I wanted to address a few things that I've noticed in the Wizard Worldwide chat, address a few things that you guys are coming forward to me with. So it's all about breaking this down for you and helping you guys realize a lot of the methods and mindsets you are bringing into trading, you must be able to detach from, because I'm seeing a lot of very bad habits and very bad traits that are being almost expressed onto the other members. And the goal here is to let me kind of be the guidance and guide you guys on where to go, and then from there onwards, if you do not feel it works, then you can obviously go down your own route. But honestly, the way it's going right now, the way people have been following the correct calls, it's paying off very well. So first and foremost, what's going on with BTC? Has the overall image changed? Now, this chart is a little more messier than normal. The only reason being is because I obviously placed this projection on the chart for all of you. So the projection here was, now that we've actually broken through this trend line, this is the daily, remember? So you've got the Fibonacci from the body to the body of the candles. We're not actually going from the wick to the wick, we're just doing body to body, because there's a lot of mess, there's a bit of confusion, and it's not really aligning too nicely. However, with two perfect candle body closures from both the swing high and the swing low, it makes more sense to adjust the Fibonacci to cater for this region. But more importantly, here's what's also interesting me right now, because not only have we seen this trend line break, we've also just fulfilled the head and shoulders of this upside drive we were anticipating towards the $7,700, $7,800 region. Now, looking at this on the 4-hour perspective, you can see the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder has now been fulfilled. And if I was to flip that upside down, you can see even clearer the shoulder, the head, the tap, and the continuation. We had another head and shoulders here. This one was absolutely flawless. You had the huge wicks going above, the head in the middle, the final shoulder, and boom, that was absolutely perfect. So we're essentially seeing the same movements over and over again. And the reason I've actually said to take profits and to move your stop loss towards the 7,450 region is because I do feel like BTC could potentially be dragged down a little lower now. If I get rid of these fibs, first of all, you can see the A. Let me get back to the daily for this one. You can see, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of, no, we'll leave that for now. We'll get rid of this because I can explain this easier in video format anyway, but I'll leave the trend line and I'll just quickly show the fib before I get rid of it. So you can see A, B, C on the 61.8 and a tap of the 78.6. The D extensions align with conveniently $8,000 and of course $8,300. So we can get rid of that quite comfortably now that the chart's been cleaner. Again, Pricey's final downside extension, that's obviously around 6,463 to $6,000, and we can see what happens from there onwards. But overall, looking at this trend line here is absolutely critical. And if I go over to the weekly trend line and the weekly time frame, you will actually understand a little bit clearer why I've actually given this critical level of around 7,800 up to $8,000. And that's because since we actually broke through this support level here and we broke through, we came up, we rejected, and we've come in for the second rejection. So as long as we do see some potential wick fishing higher and we do maintain this current floor or this current resistance level, which was once a current floor for us, then we should be able to see that roll over to the downside. We've seen it once, we've seen it twice, but in saying that, if I get rid of this trend line here, which has been marked from the daily time frame, does show us a nice little insight into where price could potentially peak. So you've seen the first wick, the second wick, the third bounce would also confluence very nicely with the A, B, C, D extensions that are forming over there. So The only thing to really watch out for right now is, of course, this trend line, because when we go over to Ether, you're going to see in a second how precise and how good the Ether setup is actually looking right now as well. So looking at this trend line being broken, it obviously does leave an inevitable and potential retracement, I guess you could say, opportunity or potential around this region here. Whether you want to do this from the wick, again, it aligns perfectly. You can see the 61.8 and the 78.6 perfectly within the boundary of this support level at $7,300. You've got the trend line, Fibonacci, and support. That's 3 rejections right there and 3 confluences in one single go. Add the fact that this will also lead on top of a potential trend line. So for example, like this, however you'd want to draw that, as you can see from there, that's now 4 confluences I've just found in a single given moment for a particular trade setup. Not to mention, if you count the fact that it's also a higher low, I've now given you 5 confluences in less than a minute for one particular trade setup. So putting all of that into consideration and just how fast my brain actually identifies these opportunities will put you into a very, very fortunate situation. So we can leave this here for now, as this is a crucial intraday level. However, what I'm going to do is just change the color, make it a bit easier to digest, and understand that there are intraday levels and then there are key levels. Now the key levels will always be in purple, as you can see, and the green zones we can even make them blue if that's needed as well, but I do like the kind of wizard joker vibe, so we're going to keep that up for the time being. But all we will do is make that a bit brighter just to stick away from this existing color. So all in all, even though you have already been given this trade from here, and this was another perfect trade alongside this one, again, I stopped myself out at around 7,200, but if you did hold an extra $100 lower, like many of you did, you would have caught this move in its entirety. Now, seeing this come through again is a nice little extension. We see the pullback. This is why it's good to take profits here and also put the stop loss there, because if it's coming down to here, it's very likely going to dip down to this level anyway. So you might as well take your profits now and just wait for the next move to come through. Unless you want to be the person that literally does hold through the entire swings up and down, floating through fluctuations, I prefer to just utilize and capture every single move and take that profit from that movement, because that way it actually makes trading a bit more exciting. Although trading should be boring, it shouldn't necessarily be a thrill. It gives you a reward. It helps you feel motivated when you're actually taking those profits off the table. Whereas most people now, let's say you did just continue holding this position I gave you. You didn't take any profits here when I told you. You didn't take any profits there when I told you. You would now be watching your position potentially float all the way back down into break even before it decides what to do. It could even wick fish and wipe you out before going higher. This is why we take profits. Now, the only thing that's keeping this pair up right now is the fact we've broken this zone over here. So if we do push this up a little bit, you can see we've broken through this resistance. We're now rejecting as support. So this is the only thing really protecting the pair right now. So why not keep the stop loss nice and tight here? If it dips below, you know, it's very likely going down there anyway. And if you get closed out, you've profited there, you've profited there. The trade is closed. You've made a good, let's see how many pips that'd be. You've made around 300 pips, 350 pips altogether. So that's not too bad. And then it pulls down, you re-enter again and do the same move. You're essentially catching the same move twice. Just as we did here, you're doing the same thing again. Now remember, we caught the short from here, we've caught the long, we've caught the second long, and now we've just caught the XRP long. So with BTC right now, the only thing that's really dictating what will happen next is, again, look at this as well, the wick on the daily, broken, rejected. Even though we are wedged in between these two, I do believe that extra push could be coming. And if we do see that, then it truly is happy days for absolutely everyone. So going over to XRP, that was a flawless entry, absolute perfection. I mean, this speaks for itself. We saw the pullback. This was given in Discord. Boom, XRP long now live, 0.5% risk, obviously running with the other trade. That's now 1% risk in total, both running in profit. Win-win situation, simple guidelines, simple executions. You guys asked me in the Wizards Worldwide chat, can I show an explanation as to why I took this trade? And I'm going to do that in this video instead, because it makes it a lot easier instead of going in from, you know, a text format or an image format. And it also is a bit easier for me to explain as I'm flowing through the movements and momentum. Now, all I said for this was, at this exact price, perfect. Stops just below 0.22. My stop's actually a bit lower than this, so around there, 0.219 approximately. That was just for the image before I adjusted it. And we're looking at around a TP of around 0.26. But honestly, that TP could be pushed from 0.27 to 0.29 in the event we exceed expectations and ride all the way back to a key level retest. BTC also still running as well. So looking at that entry, given at what, 0.22566. So if we do go over to here, 0.22566 approximately. Sorry, I was just yawning. And the 4-hour time frame, broken, rejection, boom, absolute perfection on that movement over there. I mean, look at that. Spiked through, single tap, boom, continued higher. All we need to do, wipe out 0.223 or 0.23 approximately, anywhere around this zone here, and this should just catapult to the upside, to be honest with you. This should be the final catalyst. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it very soon, judging from this current price action. Just boom, maybe come in for a retest. No need to be greedy. Don't try and enter any more trades. Just wait for it to come through. You're already in the trade at one of the best positions, because if you did miss, and this is what I want to address in the Wizards Worldwide chat as well, it's whenever I'm posting this, or let's just say Ether was a good example. I started posting the Ether charts, I started posting XRP, and I'm saying, you know, it's breaking out and here's what we're doing. We're not looking for a trade or worrying ourselves about any trades. We're just sitting, chilling and observing and waiting to see if it comes towards our buy range. If it does, lovely jubbly, let's look at buying. If not, life goes on, BTC continues going into profit. And guess what XRP did? It went exactly towards our region that was expected. But when I'm going onto the Wizards chat, I'm seeing absolutely everyone, not everyone, but I'm seeing a lot of people, you know, going, who's in the long? Who's in the long? Are we in yet? Should we go? Where do we enter? But this is the thing. I'm giving you the analysis to wait for price to come to you. So when XRP, again, a good example is when it was here, when I gave the analysis, I said, let's wait for a pullback first. It took around 12 hours, maybe, just to wait for it to come through. A little bit of patience never hurt anybody. But here's a good example. When it was up here, even though it wasn't too bad, people were going, who's entered the long? Who's entered the long? And I have to jump in there and obviously say, guys, are you crazy? Why would we be buying from here when it's just broken out, when you know it's likely going to come back and retest? Because why would you enter there? And then now look at your stop loss size. You've now got almost double the stop loss of what you have from this position here, just because you've entered higher, because you need to take into consideration this movement. And if you have it where I actually have it, then your risk to reward is pretty horrific on this trade. Even though that's only a single candle or two movement, why would we enter there and go into drawdown immediately when you can be patient, you can be calculated, you can wait for my zones to come through, and it's more likely it's going to work in our favor. At least now, if things do not work out, we have a stop loss in break even already. So if it does come down and wipe us out, we are now in a risk-free and we do not lose regardless, because our entry was so perfect. However, if you enter there, you're immediately in a loss, which means you have to sit there on your hands and pray the price will go back to even break even. I do not want to be in that situation. So I've also said this in the Wizard chat as well. If you know, I'm actually saying on every trade there should be a 0.5 to 1% risk. I'm also giving you the exact levels to execute from. I'm telling you where to take profit. Now, it's working for me. So if you're not following what I'm telling you, if you're not following the guidelines that are being given, you're going to see different results. If you want to enter without a confirmation of me saying enter, then you are going to suffer a very different fate to the rest of the Wizards, because the Wizards that are abiding by these principles, they are already succeeding. So you need to understand that as well, and understand that if you are going to go this as a rogue soldier or go as a rogue warrior on your own, your results will massively differ. You will not likely see the outcome you expect, because you're almost overcomplicating a process that's incredibly simplistic. I'm making it very easy for all of you. Again, a good question as well actually that came through is, why did I go long when we've actually just tapped this trend line? And the reason being is, although it is the third trend line bounce, there are some external factors in play here, such as the overall longer term picture, and not to mention the weekly trend line for XRP as well. If I just whip this over here, you can see when we actually broke through and slammed through, we haven't come in for that retest yet around that sweet point. But here's also what's interesting. Although the original expectation is around 0.24 to 0.245, of course, broken support over here, if I mark that out, nice, easy long-term target. And again, as you can see, using the bigger picture to aid my short-term trades. So first profit taking target, just above there, at 24 to 25.5 cents. Look at taking another half, leaving around 50% to maybe even more. Profit being taken around the 25 to 26 cents region. Retest the trend line in the zone. And then not to mention there's a Fibonacci here from the swing high to the swing low, from around 27 cents to around 29 cents. So if we do see that extension higher and we wick fish through, and then look at where these conveniently align, exactly where the targets are for the final 2020, well, before 2020 movement. So we could be seeing all of this before New Year's unfolding. So just be a bit cautious and just be careful, because it's looking very good right now. And last but not least as well, just to mention that why am I giving these trades and how did I even identify the XRP movement? Well, first and foremost, again, I've told you have to, well, this comes with experience. It's understanding the different ways to draw trend lines. Now, whilst this is currently holding, if I do drag this down to this level over here, you can see it's technically already broken. Now, that's not, again, not necessarily anything to really go by, because if I go like that, it still hasn't technically broken either. But the truth is there is a lot of upside rejections being threatened here. We're making progressive, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. We're progressing. Flip this upside down to maybe make this a bit easier. And you can see that there is some form of threat. We've actually broken through this region here. If I plot that a bit more precisely, we've broken through, rejected, boom. So all we need to really do in this instance is break through, reject this level now, and boom, we will drop down to the next downside level. Now, flipping this upside down and going towards the daily. If the daily does decide to load itself, of course, what's going on in the world of the daily? If the daily doesn't load, then we will just switch over to Ether to finalize, because I've covered pretty much everything on this anyway now. So let's go over to Ether for the time being. So Ether, again, yesterday I was actually about to mention that there could be a nice buy opportunity, but this is a buy opportunity and a half. Trendline broken, 4-hour time frame, 61.8 from, again, I don't want to go to the daily in case it runs out, but basically a body-to-body Fibonacci on the daily has aligned us with the 61.8 here and the 78.6 here. So there we go. We've got some movement. Are we back in action? There we go, there we go. So just watching out for this. I do feel there is some form of threat that this level will break. Again, there is a bit of a downside rejection, but that is why we have put stops into profit. You guys wanted a trade, even though there wasn't really a trade setup, so I gave you one anyway. So you've immediately gone into profit. There's been zero drawdown, straight into that trade in profit as well. So just take it easy and just understand here, this could just break through right now, reject this trend line as you can see, and it's boom, it's showtime. So stops in profit or break even, keep yourself protected. If it does drop lower and we see any form of sharp crash back down to this level, we'll simply re-enter again when the wick fishing occurs within this region. But considering it's a third trend line bounce, I also feel it could be a trap, because a lot of people know this is a very solid trend line, and normally trend lines do not come into play when they are this obvious. So that's another factor going into it. But Ether right now, my goodness gracious me, this is just screaming to be bought right now. Perfect level around 146.60, around that level approximately. Again, this is now clearly died on me. We'll let that just sort itself out. But you can see overall on Ether right now, what I'm looking at here is a perfect tap around this region, and I will likely enter another 0.5% risk, because this is looking flawless. Now that the trend line's broken, we've got our rejection, we can start targeting that potential retest of around $164, because just as I said before, the zone has not been retested yet since we've actually broken through the support level here on the 22nd of November. So as you can see, broken through support, rejections galore. And again, look at this lovely price action right now. If anything, I will execute this now maybe and go on to, actually no, we haven't touched yet. So if this does not come, if this does come through before the video is uploaded, I will post this in Discord straight away. But hopefully now you can see anyway what I'm looking at here. So we've got this, the A, B, C, perfect bodies on the 61.8, perfect tap of the 78.6. And again, the alignments are beautiful, $159.5 and $164.5, exactly where we've broken through. If I go to the weekly, boom, this was prior resistance, support, broken, retest, boom, let's continue to the downside. And from there onwards, this could even provide what looks to be, if we are going off a body-to-body basis, it could potentially see that push higher and dip us into that 130 to 110 region I did warn about before we actually moved higher. But here's how good the weekly looks as well right now. Rejection, hold this level again, pull back, tap this level one more time, as you can see over there with the weekly candle. For all we know, this could start pushing higher and reaching for this level. All I know is there's always a retest that's due at some point in time. So why not try and capitalize off said movements? So just being a bit patient for now, waiting for this retest to potentially come through, and we may have a very exciting long opportunity on our hands with this one as well. XRP, just leaving that for the time being. Again, there's no stress. Just remember, every single thing you need is within that wizard chat, whether that's your risk management, where the stop losses are, when to enter. If you are looking to enter anywhere else off these positions, you are simply not following the guidelines and you're jeopardizing your own potentiality. So again, there's not much I can really do about that, except continuously every day just try and engage you guys into not taking these trades and only taking the higher probability setups. So that's the best thing I can do, but I just wanted to warn you guys, I am noticing this pattern, and that's one of the reasons why I have even, we created the Wizard Worldwide Chat, is for me to get a bit of an understanding psychologically on how you guys are behaving in regards to the charts. And there's a few tendencies I'm trying to weave out and I'm working on, and I'm trying my best to figure out how to actually solve this solution. So for the time being, nice 20-minute breakdown for you. It was only meant to be about 5 minutes, but you've got a good few trade setups, good bit of risk management in here as well. So hopefully this is helping you just aid that overall picture, whether you're new, whether you're old, whether you're experienced, whether you've never even seen a chart in your life. This should be slowly but surely giving you a very open eye into the blueprints of success.